Good morning. I'm out on my balcony right now enjoying my coffee in this really cute Animal Crossing mug that I got the other day. Ever since it's cooled down, I've come out here onto my balcony most mornings to enjoy my cup of coffee and just chill and relax before the start of my day, regardless of whether I'm going to be at home all day working or if I'm going to go out and do whatever it is that I do. Ever since I kind of soft quit Twitter, especially, at the beginning of this year. For those of you who don't know, I do have my Twitter account still, but if you go onto my Twitter account, you'll see that I've been pretty quiet when it comes to tweeting or anything like that. And that's because I finally decided enough was enough and I needed to get off this godforsaken website for a little bit. I guess some people would refer to that as a digital detox, but as someone who has a job on the internet and needs to be on the internet, I couldn't do just a cold turkey digital detox. So in that sense, I left my Twitter account there just kind of hanging in limbo while I just decided to delete it off my phone and delete it off my computer and just try not to go on it as much as humanly possible. Because there's one thing that I noticed very quickly, and I feel like every year it's just rapidly increasing. Every time I go onto Twitter, every time I even talk to my content creator friends or people who watch content creators or anything like that, there's always just a lot of news and drama and empty conversations that are brought up concerning content creators. It's always, oh, did you hear that X content creator said this thing to another content creator and now they're beefing? Or, oh, did you hear that X content creator said this thing and it offended a bunch of people from this group? Or, oh, did you hear that X content creator committed this crime and has been covering it up for however many days or weeks or months or years? And there's a term that I have been seeing a lot of on posts like that, or just referring to things like that as huge news for the unemployed. I really do think that there is no better fitting sentence than that when it comes to all of this stuff. Because even though I myself am a content creator, I have been now for over a decade, and I've been through my ups and downs, I've been through my controversies, however you want to define that. Every time I just see this kind of shit and I hear this kind of shit, I'm just like, why do we care this much? Why do people care so much about what content creators do or say? Because 9 times out of 10, and this, I'm just throwing out this number here, this is not based on any facts or surveys or anything. 9 times out of 10, the news that you hear about when it comes to certain content creators doing or saying shit is just the most petty high school shit that I have ever seen. It is literally the equivalent of you going to school and a girl from the next class comes over to you and whispers in your ear, hey, did you hear that Sandra called Timmy a cuck, and now Timmy is trying to fight Sandra's boyfriend over it? And of course, you know how high school goes, that one person telling that one other person about this particular thing or rumor then spreads like wildfire across the school, evolves and changes in nuance, like, oh, actually, Sandra started it. Oh, no, actually, I heard that Timmy started it. Oh, actually, I heard that Timmy is actually a cock. Oh, actually, I heard that Sandra is a slut. And as it is happening, regardless of if you yourself are Sandra or Timmy or are directly or indirectly involved in that particular situation, it seems like the biggest thing ever. But as anybody who has graduated from high school knows, it's not. In fact, most of the time, no matter how big a situation may seem at the time, after a week, hell, after 72 hours, no one gives a fuck anymore. Because most people, especially as an adult, especially after high school, have so many better things to worry about. I mentioned this is the case 9 times out of 10. Because the 1 time out of 10 where I think it actually does matter is when a content creator or content creators commit some sort of a crime. I think regardless of who you are, regardless of how many followers or subs or fans that you have, if somebody has committed a crime and they are guilty of that crime, not just allegedly guilty, but actually guilty of that crime, then yeah, I think those content creators should be apprehended, and I think the discourse surrounding that is a valid one. I mean, after all, just because you have a bunch of fans or followers or subscribers, it doesn't excuse you from committing a crime. But then here's where the problem lies in that sense, is that no one on the internet is certain about anything. Even though the subject matter may be revolving around a serious crime, or an alleged serious crime, nobody knows who to point the finger at anymore. And when we get to that particular consensus of not knowing who to point the finger at, it's usually the larger group that bands together and decides on a common enemy, and then all of a sudden that becomes the fact. Listen, in my 12 years of being a content creator, I know I never committed a crime, I know I never did anything wrong, but of course there are people online who are very quick to say, actually you did, with zero basis whatsoever. Which is why I've never taken anything bad said about me or bad said about the content creators that I know haven't done anything wrong, because I know them on a personal level, to be just a pile of horse shit. And most of that horse shit is scooped up from sites like Twitter, hence the reason why I needed to get the fuck off that website. I'm not saying that Instagram or any other social media website is angelic. It's more of a pick your flavor of poison kind of deal. Obviously, I think all social media has just absolutely fucked up a bunch of people, especially since COVID happened. My God, the social media COVID double whammy has just really fucked up an entire generation of kids, but that's another subject for another day. The point of this video is that I just wanted to give my 2 cents on why I had this digital detox and why I'm continuing to have this digital detox, and why I think if you are a content creator or if you follow content creators, that you should also do the same. Because there is just too much news for the unemployed out there right now. People care too much about what content creators do, what content creators say. Like, it is in and of itself become a form of Hollywood, and I just think it's messed up. Really, it really is messed up. Once you're out of high school and you see all of this high school shit that's happening, because again, 9 times out of 10 it is high school shit, I just get so tired of it. I'm like, why are we caring this much about this? Like, who actually gives a flying fuck what a content creator said, or who a content creator offended, or which 2 content creators are beefing with one another? Like, who truly gives a flying fuck? I'm so sick of it, dude. That's kind of a reason why, kind of inadvertently, I've been not so much distancing myself from content creators, but definitely stepping back from that space a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that all my content creator friends are terrible people. Absolutely not. In fact, a lot of them are lovely. You know, they're great friends of mine. Don't get me wrong in that sense. But when it comes, at least to me, when it comes to making new content creator friends, I'm definitely a little more distanced. Not only because I myself have been backstabbed multiple times by content creators, more than any occupation really, but also just the way that things are going, the space that is revolved around content creators has just gotten exhausting to me. You know, I said in my previous video about how nobody has any hobbies anymore. For some people, attaching themselves to these huge news for the unemployed has become their hobby, and I just don't think that's the way to go, if I'm being completely honest with you, dog. It's just not really a thing that you should be sinking your mind and time into. And please understand, this is not a video of me coming onto camera and getting up on my high horse and saying, I am better than all of you because I don't associate myself with these huge news for the unemployed. No, I like to hope that this is more of a video to kind of encourage all of you to just detox a little bit. Just get the hell off the internet and stop caring about shit that people are gonna forget after a week. Stop thinking that everything that your favorite content creator says is the Bible. And you know what? it also applies to this video as well. If you don't want to agree with anything that I have said, and if you don't want to follow my suggestion, that is completely up to you. If that's how you want to live your life, I am not stopping you. But it worked for me, and it is currently working for me, and I'd like to think that it'll probably work for a lot of people out there who just mentally feel like they're in a bit of a rut. Looking at all of this negativity and high school bullshit and these huge news for the unemployed, and just thinking, wow, everyone fucking sucks. Because the truth of the matter is, not everybody does suck. It might seem like they suck when you look on the internet, but that's because the internet is very good at making people look like they suck more than they actually do. The world may seem like it sucks, but every time, at least for me, I come out here onto my balcony with my cup of coffee, enjoying the weather, hearing the sounds of the town that I live in, and looking out over there towards the mountains, I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, everything's good. Everything is fine right now. In fact, I can actually see Mount Fuji today from over there. Like little tippy top of Mount Fuji over there. So I think it's going to be a good day today. Detox a little bit from the internet every now and then. You can just start with like once a week. Honestly, you don't have to go cold turkey, because I know how difficult it is. I know how integrated social media is into a lot of people's lives nowadays, especially if you're a content creator. But just try to take some time out, even just a little bit. Trust me, it will do absolute wonders for your health. I might actually go for a walk with my wife today because it is such a lovely day. You know, maybe go for a little bit of shopping. I don't know, but you know, get my steps in. You know, I've been doing like 15,000 steps a day these past like 3 or 4 weeks because my parents have been in town, and it's been great. I've been loving going outside now that it's not like 40 fucking degrees and, you know, sweltering like a motherfucker. Now that it's actually nice to be outside, I've been loving it. This weather and this temperature is so good. But yeah, that was just my 2 cents on the matter. Have a good day, everyone.